Right, this matchup between KernelPanic and Seli is, well, this is the match for the last place in the quarterfinals. So, best of three. From what we've seen so far from these two players in the competition, this could be pretty close, I feel. Could be pretty close. So, hopefully we'll see some good games here, because I think these two are reasonably well matched. Neither player is sending a ridiculously early worker out onto the map, so it doesn't look like we're going to have any sort of bizarre antics or anything like that. Everything in these first couple of minutes anyway will hopefully progress pretty normally. It's a good map for a nice macro game. It's a big map. There's plenty of places to expand to, plenty of opportunity to throw down ninja expands in these sort of areas and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure what this pylon is doing. You don't really need to open with two pylons, but you know, it's not too big a deal really, is it? Yeah. So gas just finished up for Seli. If he transfers workers into that, it will mean he'll be able to get a Reaper out pretty quickly. And that's sort of recommended as a terrain opening. Get a Reaper out, get it across the map, have a look around, see what your opponent is doing. I like this as well from KernelPanic. Get a worker out, just check that you're not being proxied, check the normal locations, check that there isn't anything weird going on just outside your own base. And if there isn't, then you can send this worker across the map to have a good old look around in your opponent's men. So, second gateway before sidecore for KernelPanic is a little unusual. Mining off one gas, so you know we'll certainly have enough gas to research a warp gate, for example, and those types of things. So yeah, definitely wants to get that sidecore pretty sharpish, and does. Seli, as expected, does get the Reaper out. I mean, the first thing you can do here is you can just snipe that probe, make sure it doesn't annoy you, but has kind of sprinted straight past the probe. I think the Reaper, possibly not looking at it, the Reaper was just on a setup for a rally point. We might see this probe just annoy the worker here building the CC, and that's why you want to kill it, because this can be really obnoxious. He's actually going to lose this worker. You need to cancel the build and pull the worker to safety. That's just really annoying. That's going to delay the build of this CC. He's going to have to send another worker down to finish the job, and there was no need for it. You know, the Reaper would have killed that worker in pretty short order. I'm not sure why the Reaper's parked here. I'd like to see it get in and start to have a look around, possibly even harass the probes a little bit, interrupt mining. There's another couple of zealots coming out now. The forge is going down. So the correct response here is to have you know, sort of one zealot. You can just right click onto the Reaper, have it chase it around, and then as the Reaper tries to run about, try and sort of cut off its escape paths with the other zealots, so that it makes it awkward. In the end, the zealots do get the Reaper, and that's a little bit careless. Reapers are so much faster than zealots. You know, yeah, sure, you can do a bit of fancy micro, you can spin around and you can stutter step and you can snipe at the zealots, and yeah, you can pick them off. But the more important thing is to keep your Reaper alive. So Seli still hasn't sent a worker down to finish this CC, and you can't help but feel that's careless. I think this pylon is just a fake out. There is a forge at home, but you know, with these Marines up, it's very unlikely we'll see a cannon rush. Now Seli knows that this worker is about the place, so surely he will go looking for that in a second. This CC doesn't have vision of that, probably still won't when it finishes up. Seli, seriously, don't let this guy continue to thrive and survive. You need to do something about that. The Twilight then at home is going to allow charge, upgrades, possibly blink, but I think more likely charge is what we'll see. We'll also allow things like, oh please no, surely you see this, Seli. Surely you see this. So it needs to get Marines down here to deal with this. If this cannon finishes up, this will be really annoying. It's really expensive to try and deal with two cannons with just Marines. And this cannon is going to finish up. So, you know, failed to respond appropriately to this, basically. So the Marines are in a good position here to snipe this cannon, but I think the cannon will finish and it'll take these two Marines out. Just careless, really. You knew that there was a worker about, you knew that it was in this vicinity, but you didn't go and look for it. So this is kind of annoying now to clean up. His best plan of action here is probably to lift this CC and just put it over here at the third. Production stopped for Seli while he's distracted with that, and as expected, it's going to be charge being researched here for KernelPanic. The forge sits idle, and you got the forge so that you could harass with cannons, but since you've got the forge, you've got the money for it. Upgrades would be good, and armor would be recommended. So rather than repairing this, I much prefer the lift. Seli, he needs to clean this up. There are a lot of cannons here, and I'm not sure I agree with this. The CC's in range of this cannon. Why are you spending money on these? Just spend that money on tech, spend it on units. Now, with that said, if Seli doesn't lift this CC before these cannons finish, there's actually a pretty good chance that the CC will get sniped. So I don't really know what he's up to here. The siege tanks, oh my goodness, not a queue of 5 siege tanks, please. Build 1 siege tank and build a second factory. Why are we building all these siege tanks? A siege tank here will essentially end this. The CC's going to go down, and that's just careless. Like, all you had to do was lift that CC. There was literally no need for that CC to die. This siege tank ultimately is going to clean this up. There's no point in these Marines being here. They're just going to get shot. So, now that the siege tank's here, he can just inch forward. Not that far forward. Oh, please no. Please make it stop. Yeah, about that. So, inch forward. Don't move to where you can get shot. This is a bit ridiculous. If this cannon rush actually ends this game, I'll be literally disgusted. So this is going to move down. You can safely move the Marines down to help kill these. You can put the Marines in the bunker to kill these, and I'd recommend it. I'm kind of a little dismayed at how much KernelPanic is spending on this. This is job done. You're not going to achieve more with this than you already have. So this is just 300 minerals wasted. Now, where's your expo? 7 minutes into the game and you're mining off 1 base, which isn't even saturated, but you're spending money on this nonsense. I mean, this cannon was going to do it for the CC. So all the rest of this stuff is, I don't know. The Stargate, proxied because why? I don't quite get it. Anyway, looks like he will eventually expand. Seli has a massive amount of minerals, but look, he's only got 1 barracks and 1 factory. But with 2 grand in the bank, you need to build more stuff than this. Hopefully this Void Ray gets nothing done. Seli surely sees it. He does see it, but the Marines haven't reacted yet. These Marines should be able to chase the Void Ray off. I don't know why the siege tank is coming, because it needs to be parked here so that it's obliterating stuff, or sent down here to get some stuff done. Either way, it isn't much good against a Void Ray. These workers, Anywho, yeah, so both players still mining off 1 base for different reasons. Or maybe, actually, in a weird way, it's exactly the same reason. They're both still on 1 base because of this cannon rush. Seli's CC was killed, and KernelPanic was so focused on spending money on cannons and pylons that he forgot to expo. So if we look at the income tab, it's going to be pretty sorry sight, really. I mean, that is shocking, to be honest, at the 8-minute mark. That's pretty disgraceful. These idle workers aren't helping, literally. So I don't know what to say. There's still no CC being built for Seli, and I don't know why not. If you're really that scared of the cannons, build it here, fly it down, build it here, where you should have moved that natural to in the first place. What I'm not seeing from either player is an increase in tech and an increase in production. It's stagnated. We're building a handful of units at a time. But where are the extra production facilities? KernelPanic has got literally 2 gateways. That's all he can produce from. He has as many nexuses as gateways. What? You can run 4 gateways off 1 nexus. He doesn't even have enough gateways for a single nexus. Never mind 2. Now, with that said, he's very mineral light, and presumably that's because he's spent an absolute fortune on cannons and silly things on the other side of the map that are now all dead, or at least will be soon. So it's KernelPanic with the big move out. If we look at the army supplies, he does have a substantial advantage here, that's for sure. There's no sieged up tank on the high ground, but it wouldn't take long to rectify that. These 3 sieged up down here, though, are just going to give an absolute piss into everything. Unfortunately, there's nothing in that bunker, and once the zealots actually get on top of these siege tanks, they'll see it off. Had the bunker been occupied, it would have shot the zealots, and the AI for the zealots would have made them attack that, where they would have been taking a piston from the siege tanks. This is an awkward little corner to box yourself into. If these siege tanks siege up here, you can't really leave this area without just getting blown to bits. So it's hard to see how this is going to work in any way. Seli has got a couple of Banshees coming out. I don't see Cloak for the Banshees in production just yet. That's okay. Banshees don't necessarily need Cloak, especially when all of your opponent's units are on the other side of the map. So KernelPanic decides maybe that wasn't the best plan ever, I'm going to go home. This poor old CC, look, here we are at the 11-minute mark, no expand for our Terran player. Recalls from here, I don't know about that. I mean, if you'd have recalled from here so that you didn't have to take more tank shots before on the way home, I'd have thought, yeah, okay. I mean, but recall when you're already on the walk. Not sure why. There's 4 Stalkers here. There are Zealots just in production. Zealots queued up. And actually, these Banshees, you know, here is the time when Cloak would have been handy, but don't stand and fight these Stalkers. You know, get a few shots off and then run. The Cloak does kick in now. Oh, it must have been in production the whole time. I'm just blind. I'm just not very good at this, really. Yeah, I'd much prefer this Banshee ignoring this stuff and just picking off the workers. That's, you know that you're behind in terms of income because you've only now just secured your natural. So that's what you need to fix. What you don't need to fix is a couple of Stalkers. That's not really going to help anything. I don't know about focusing down a pylon. If there is a pylon to be focused on, it's this one, isn't it? You know, look at it there. You can see it. You're just okay with that. I'm not okay with that. So Cloak is going to run out on this fairly shortly in about 10 seconds, and the Stalkers will snipe it. So he needs to be careful. He doesn't want to lose this Banshee. That would just be careless. And still with the following this stuff about it, and the Banshee is going to go down. Yeah, could have been better. If we look at the units lost, you know, given that he's lost 2 Banshees, he killed a total of 4 workers. Not the best. Yeah, it's going to push out across the map. It's pretty even. And actually, it's even in supply, but there's 2 siege tanks, 3 siege tanks at home. You know, why aren't there workers in production here? You think, like, you know, you're mining off 6 here, 7 here, 13 workers mining minerals at the 12, 13-minute mark. Well, you know, newsflash, you start with 12 workers mining minerals, and here we are 13 minutes later and you've only got 1 additional worker mining minerals. Like, what is this? Anyway, these Zealots in this position actually will not trade very efficiently with the Marine Ball. You know, you've heard me rant about fighting in chokes before. Against melee units, it's a great place to fight. The whole scenario is reversed because you don't give the melee units any surface area. And now that they do have surface areas, they will eat through these Marines pretty sharpish. The siege up here is pointless. All of these units are on top of you. You won't get a shot off. But actually in this choke is ideal because it just means the Zealots have only got a front line of Marines to hit, but of course the ranged Marines, no, don't stand and fight a cannon, no, please stop this. Oh my word, the Banshee survives, but you know, what's it achieved? It's killed the cannon. 2 Banshees, again, you could have been in here and you could have achieved a lot. You could have a host of workers, you could have killed 10 workers easily. And again, losing the Banshee unnecessarily, this is beginning to make me feel sick. So where are we at? There's Colossus coming out, and Colossus are very good against light units. They're very good against Marines. Charge lot Colossus is a very effective play indeed. Colossus, of course, don't shoot Banshees. So KernelPanic really does need to put something into the mix that's going to deal with those air units. What happened there? Did the Banshees kill that one? I seriously am useless at observing. Yeah, presumably the Banshees sniped that, or did he snipe that with the push that came up here? I didn't notice that getting sniped, but maybe he had a siege tank pummeling it or something. I don't know. I'm not going to rewind at this point. So 4 Banshees coming in can certainly get a lot done. There's only 3 Stalkers on the ground, so these 4 Banshees can certainly focus down those Stalkers pretty quickly. There's an observer somewhere, there it is, with the army, so Cloak isn't going to help him here. Total oversaturation in the men. Don't know about that. Needs to transfer some of those workers. And with these Banshees about, it's probably not a crazy plan to do it now. Though, I don't know, looked like the Colossus was just attacking his own stuff there. So the Banshees cloak so that they can shoot an assimilator. Are you actually kidding me? Stop shooting the assimilator. What is this nonsense like? So you're being killed by stuff in the air. You've spent a lot of money on Colossus, a lot on Zealots. None of it shoots up, none of it. And now you're kind of out of money. It's all a bit grim, isn't it? It's all a bit grim. There is a Nexus in production, and he does have workers, I think, that he can transfer. Here they are. They're just running about getting wrecked by this stuff. There is about to be a Stalker, right? He needs these workers long-range mining. I mean, his minerals are currently static, and this one Stalker on its own can't really take on 3 Cloak Banshees. So he decides, I'm just going to march across the map. I don't know about the decision to bring the workers. I suppose if you leave them here with the Banshee, they are going to die. Doesn't have enough money to actually build a worker. So, you know, if this push doesn't work, it's game over. There's siege tanks on the high ground. This is not going to be that pretty. He hasn't waited for the Immortal, which is a shame. Immortals trade very well against siege tanks with that special barrier they have. They can wade in and soak up. Oh, this is horrible to see. These Zealots on the ramp just getting absolutely pummeled to bits. So looks like KernelPanic is going to manage to focus down this CC. But, you know, having brought the workers, he's now lost all his workers. He's lost the Expo down here. He has no production and no way of getting any sort of production because all of his workers are now dead. Worker supply is literally 0, and you can't help but feel it's about to be GG. It's not the cleanest game that I've ever seen. Not the cleanest game by a long shot. You know, here at 17-minute mark, again, both players only have 1 base. Dude, indeed. You're quite right. You have no workers because you decided to attack siege tanks with them. And yeah, you know, I feel the pain. You had these in your base. Admittedly, there was only 3 at the time. So had you tried long-range mining, you would have lost workers, but you probably could have got enough minerals together to build one as well. I don't know. I don't know, man. To be honest, the damage was sort of done. Once the first Banshees came in, he needed to sort of transition into some sort of unit that could fight things in the air. Whether that was building a few more Stalkers in the mix, you don't need too many, but you need a few. Or possibly even drop in Templar Archives and turn in, you know, if I just quickly go back here, look how much gas there is. So Templar Archives, he would have been able to warp in large numbers of Templar and turn them into Archons, and Archons will decimate Banshees. Anyway, GG.